Well, as the pandemic continues, more and more companies are still trying to navigate remote work and hybrid schedules, as many also are returning back home to work during this other surge of the Omicron wave.
Yeah, and businesses are finding that if they don't adapt, it will certainly hurt their bottom line. To talk more about these workplace changes, let's bring in Spencer O'Leary. He is the North American CEO of ActiveOps. First off, Mr. O'Leary, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, so I want to start off because as we've seen, this hybrid workforce, it creates its own challenge in itself, right? I mean, we've certainly have seen that. Let's start off here. Some advice that you would give to companies or businesses that have not already made this move. How and where should they start first?
So, Henry, I think three things that are key for any manager listening today who's got employees who are working from home, and those managers are maybe trying to manage from home. The first is data. Make sure you understand what people are doing and when they're doing it. Second is some training. It's always been hard to manage people, even harder to manage them when they're remote, so get some training. And third is balance. Let's just not focus on how much work people are doing. Employee well-being is critical today, and sickness and attrition caused by workplace stresses is a real cost to business.
And like you said, Spencer, balance is so important with that work, challenging, juggling work and your home life. But you have a software that actually helps managers learn about that and deal with it. But how does that work?
Exactly right. So at ActiveOps, we provide a piece of software that helps monitor what employees are doing at home, not just the hours they work, but how much work they produced. And then critically, that balance of well-being, making sure that people aren't working too hard and aren't burning out and aren't suffering stress that causes sickness and attrition.
Yes, and I'm assuming, Mr. O'Leary, with all this work-life balances, I mean, you work hand in hand with businesses. What are some of the changes and how are these, maybe this is a better question, like in terms of how are the companies responding to all of these changes?
Well, I think companies are responding in several different ways. There are some who are trying to encourage, some even force their employees to go back to the office. There's some that are really embracing that idea of hybrid work. And with so many job shortages in the US at the moment, employees are voting with their feet. And any employer out there who's listening today who can't embrace hybrid work, they need to watch out because their employees will go and work for someone who can.
That's true.
That's true. And Spencer, you say that your company is so much more than just software. Talk about how you actually get involved with these companies to help mentor them to make these changes.
So one of the key things for any manager today, most people who managed a large team or a small team, they do it in an office, and managing with a manager's eyes and ears was something that was a tool that we all used, and suddenly COVID took those two things away. And not only are employees now working from home, managers are managing from home, and that's harder than it's ever been. So having the right data and then having the right management training and coaching to manage a remote workforce is absolutely critical.
Mr. O'Leary, one last question here, and this is more on a personal note because I think obviously in this pandemic, and here we are in a second year, we've learned so much. In terms of the hybrid work, though, what do you think has stood out to you in terms of this? Because it is interesting, in this business, who would have thought we'd have done television from our own home, and compared to what we've seen. So what's something that stood out to you in terms of hybrid work, maybe something that businesses have learned and in your line of work?
Well, I think one of the hardest things that we're about to face as we go into this year is it was difficult getting everybody to work from home back in early 2020. But actually, IT departments around the world, large or small, they could just ship equipment to somebody's house and get everybody working from home. Suddenly with hybrid work, I need two machines. I need one at home and one at work because maybe I'm working between the two. So I think we're about to face in 22 yet another challenge of what COVID's going to bring. And that's how to equip people, not just to work from one place at home, but to work from the home some days a week and work from the office other days a week.
Any place. All right, Spencer, thank you so much for joining us. ActiveOps works with companies all over the world. If you'd like to learn more, we'll have a link on our website later this afternoon. Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you both.